Well, hello everybody. This is part two of my last night Facebook Live, and just bear with me while I quickly adjust my exposure a little bit. Needs a little adjustment there. That's a little bit better. Fabulous. And welcome to the show, anybody who's listening. Claudia, I think you're the first one to join. Welcome to the show. I'm just going to give a few minutes to let other people come. I must look at the camera there. And I've adjusted the setup because yesterday I had the camera up there, but I've moved it down here. And the computer was down here yesterday, but I've moved the computer over to there now because I was noticing while I was watching the replay yesterday or after the show that I wasn't engaging with the audience because my eyes were all over the place. But now I've got the camera here and I've moved the computer over to there, so there's no excuse for me not looking at the people there. So if I don't engage with the audience, do make a comment and tell me to look at the camera instead of looking all over the place. Like I noticed I was doing, I was not engaging with my audience. So I can see the camera now, and I'm going to be trying to engage with the audience. And David, good to see you. David, my mentor, fabulous man, taught me all about talking to the audience, and I'm glad to see you here, David. And Michael Ange and George Potiers, good to see you join. And this is the sequel to yesterday's show because I left some points out yesterday. I was in pain yesterday with a migraine, so I wasn't thinking clearly. And so I'm feeling a little nervous now because David, my mentor's joined me, and it's good to have him in. Damien, good to see you join me as well. And Beverly, you've joined me again from yesterday. Good to have you here. And I'm just going to give it a few minutes for some more people to join. And it's good to have you all joining. Now, I am going to be doing something very special on this show, which will either define me as the best hypnotherapist on the planet, or I will be shown to be a buffoon, a complete idiot. So I'm putting my reputation on the line this evening, and I'm not afraid to do that because I don't have a big ego. I'm not like all the other hypnotherapists out there. So I am going to do something on this show that will define me. And so I am going to be doing an experiment on this show that will find all the somnambulists on this show. And so I am looking for you, and you will need a coin. If you feel that you're a somnambulist and you're willing to be engaged or involved in an experiment, you will need a coin. Any coin, a small coin, big coin, doesn't matter. And if you're willing to be involved in an experiment, then you'll need a coin. And we will be using that. So, Claudia, you're saying due to the hurricane, but vid always interrupts with technical problems. Well, I hope nobody has too much of you're going to, well, okay. I'm sorry you aren't going to be here for a few minutes. I hope you'll get the replay, David, because I'm hoping this is going to. Well, this will be a definitely good show. And as I said, there will be an experiment done on this show, and I think we better get straight into the show. So yesterday I was talking about pain control, and I was talking about a particular client of mine whose name I can't give, although I must state that I do have her permission to talk about her on this show. And I can't give her name because she is going through a legal case at the moment to do with injuries that she's received in various accidents, so I can't give her name. And she is a rock star who is quite well, or has been quite well known in the USA until she had that accident, which affected her ability to play the guitar and perform on stage. And I was saying yesterday that I helped her with pain. Just to recap for those who weren't here yesterday, or those who don't know how to control pain, we what we do is we need to first of all identify the pain. Not too difficult because the people know they're in pain, and we need to first of all, stop using that word pain. Nobody likes to have pain, and the more you use the pain, the more we maintain the pain. So we want to start to use words like comfort, sensation, anything but pain. So change or reframe it. Lorna, good to see you. Unique, good to see you. Claudia, David, hope you're still here. Beverly, again, good to see you. Just going to scroll back up the page. Who else is here? Claudia, Georges. I think I've said you all. But just to recap, I've moved my desk around because yesterday I had the camera up here, so I wasn't looking at you. I've moved the camera down here. The computer was down here, but I've moved it over to here now so that I can engage with you more. So I'm making sure I'm watching the camera here. That's going to be much better. So I'm getting used to using Facebook Live more now. But going back to what I was saying, for those who weren't here yesterday, we want to stop using that word pain. Nobody wants to be in pain. Nobody wants to be reminded that they're in pain. So I use words like sensation and comfort level, because we want to raise their comfort level, lower the pain level. So with yesterday, we were talking specifically about my one client who was in pain with the tooth that she'd had removed. She'd had a really big abscess in that tooth. She'd been into hospital before she had that done to have intravenous antibiotics because the abscess was so bad, and she had to have that removed before the tooth was removed. So that was a couple of weeks earlier she'd had to have that done, and she needed to wait for that to settle down before the tooth could be removed. She'd been to me for hypnosis before she went to the dentist, and I did that a couple of hours before her dental work. So she was in the chair, very relaxed, very calm. So there was no drama when she had the tooth removed. The tooth was taken out very quickly. But 3 days later, she was still in discomfort from the dental work. So she came to me, and I worked with her, and we worked on that. So identify the discomfort. It's not difficult because she knows she's got it. Your client knows that they're in pain, and you have to change the way you relate to the pain. And this is done with metaphor, of course. So I had my client describe the pain as a shape, and the shape that she eventually came to was a pear shape. And I was looking at the video from yesterday, and I was describing how she was waving her hands around. And if you were listening carefully, you'll have realized I was saying I didn't have her on camera, so I couldn't say that she was waving her hands around because I couldn't see her. But she was describing it to me so cleverly, I sort of imagined her waving her hands around. So I wonder if you picked up on that. So she described the shape being pear-shaped. So get them to relate to a shape, and then get them to tell you if there's a color. And what we did that I didn't emphasize enough yesterday, and this is why I'm having the second Facebook Live today. Trevor, good to see you. Good friend of mine, fellow hypnotist, Trevor Hoskins. And just for those who have joined us, I will be later on this show doing an experiment with you. I am going to find those of you who are true somnambulists, and this will define me as the most fantastic hypnotherapist on the planet, or it will show me to be a buffoon, and I'm prepared for that. I'm happy to do that because I don't have a big ego, or some of you may think I do. So that will be an experiment I will do later on this show. So do stay on the show, and we will do that, and we'll find out how much of a hypnotist I am. And that will be a bit of fun, I hope. I don't be funny if I fall flat on my face, and I'm prepared for that. But good to see you, Trevor. Where was I? Oh yes. So I don't want to go through how to stop pain too much on this show, because you can listen to yesterday's show. But what I want to emphasize most on this show, which I didn't do enough of yesterday, when I identified the pain, what I always do when I do that is I want to emphasize that pain has always a message. It's there for a reason. So what I said, or what I always say with all of my clients, and I did this with the one I was talking about yesterday, I said to her, I wonder if that pain has a message. I wonder if it wants to tell us something. And in fact, it did, because when I was talking to her, I asked her if she would like to move that sensation. And I must stop using that word pain. I've used it several times on this call, but we must use words like sensation, comfort level rather than pain. So when you're talking to your client, switch from using the word pain to sensation or comfort level as soon as you can. So I said to her, I wonder if that sensation has a message for us, if it wants to tell us something. And I emphasized that several times to engage her brain, because that sensation she was having had a message that had been locked in there for 5 years, since it was locked in by the surgeon that caused it. Now, I didn't know that, but her subconscious did. So when I started to relocate, am I doing this well? Am I looking at the camera all the time and not the computer? Because I need to check from time to time to see if anyone's logged in. So hopefully I'm engaging with the camera a lot better than I did yesterday when I was looking all over the place. And I was noticing my eyes were moving around all over the place, which isn't good, because I need to engage with the camera. And I'm hoping that I'm helping the people that start to use Facebook Live, because it's quite a technique. Where was I? Yes, so I was talking to her and finding out, Rosa, good to have you join us. Fabulous to have you. And I was talking to her, trying to lock into those subconscious messages that she had. And there was a message there, because when it came to moving the sensation that she had, I suggested that she might like to move it, and she moved it down her neck into her shoulders. And this was a suggestion that I gave. She might like to move it, perhaps. And I don't like to be too forcible about where I tell them to move it. So I use words like perhaps. And I said, perhaps you might like to move it down your neck into your shoulder, as it might be they might like to move it somewhere else. So be very loose with your terms. And so I said, perhaps down into your neck. So she moved it down into her neck, and she told me when it was there. And then I said, perhaps you might like to move it down into your arm. Now, it's easy to suggest she might like to move into her left or her right arm. I didn't specify an arm. And she moved it down to her arm. I didn't know which arm, but as it happens, she moved it down her left arm, and then we moved it into, I suggested, her elbow, and eventually we moved it down to her hand. And I didn't know which hand, but her subconscious had moved it into her left hand. And as it turned out, if you were listening to the show yesterday, her left hand, she then started to describe to me that she had this tingling in her left pinky. The pinky, I think, is the little finger, isn't it? I always get confused about which finger's which. It was her left pinky, and she was rather astounded by that. And she was saying words like fabulous. And so I discussed this with her, and she quickly told me that she'd had surgery in that hand 5 years ago, and her surgeon had told her that she would never have any feeling in that hand again. And this was on the video yesterday. I think it's outrageous that medical professionals our clients or give suggestions to anybody that they will never feel things again. It's appalling that medical professionals, if any medical professionals are listening, I'm sorry if you feel I'm slating you, but we must be careful what we say to clients, because this is taken on a very deep level. And this happens a lot when people are in the theatre under anaesthetic. This can have a very powerful effect on them. And in fact, the person I'm talking about now has been in the theatre a couple of years ago, and I gave her pre-surgery hypnosis, and I was able to help her an awful lot, because in that pre-surgery hypnosis, I suggested to her, and I can tell you about this because I have her permission, I suggested to her that even although she would be under the anaesthetic, she would listen to the surgeon and ignore any idle chat that was going on in the theatre that would be of a negative nature. I told her to ignore all of that, because it could be that a surgeon might easily say something that was innocent. He might say, oops, because he may see something that he needs to attend to, and he would attend to it very quickly, and it might be harmless in his mind. But a patient might hear, oops, and something major, and that could affect them for the rest of their life. They could be worrying about that for the rest of their life because they heard that, and it was nothing. It might be a minor thing to the surgeon, and he would deal with it very quickly. But the patient would pick that up and think something completely different. So I suggested to her, and I, in fact, even said to her what I've just said to you, that it's something minor, you could just ignore that. And that would have put her mind at ease. I also suggested to her during her pre-surgery hypnosis that because she would bleed during the surgery, that she would listen to the surgeon, to what he was saying, so that she would take control of the flow of blood when necessary, based on what she heard the surgeon say, so that she would minimize the control of blood to help him, so that the surgeon would believe that he had a second pair of hands helping him. And on that basis, she would probably only need 2 pints of blood instead of 4, which would, I heard, typically be what she would, or what anybody having a hysterectomy would need during surgery. And after the surgery, it transpired that she did in fact have 2 pints of blood instead of 4, and the surgeon was very pleased. So this is the effect that hypnosis can have to help a surgeon. But the things that surgeons say during surgery can be potentially very damaging to the patient. So if any surgeons or nurses or anybody in a theatre are listening to this recording, do please be very careful what you say during the theatre or anywhere when you're interacting with patients, because they can have a big effect to the patient. I just having a look at the screen here to see if nobody else has joined us. If anyone has any comments, do please type them in there. If there's anything I can say that will help you, that would be wonderful. And I was mentioning yesterday that I was talking to somebody in the hospital I was at. I didn't mention she was actually one of the nurses. She had lower back pain. And in her case, I did the routine where I asked her if the back pain had a shape that she could relate to. And indeed, it did have a shape. And she said the shape was heart-shaped. And she also said the shape of the colour of the shape was pink. Was it pink? Yes, she said pink. And in her case, I said, would you like to move that shape? And she said, it wants to move up. And she didn't say that she wanted to move it up. She said it wants to move up, as if it had a personality of its own. And she said, oh, it's floating up. And it floated all the way up her spine, into her shoulders, and it wanted to float all the way up her neck And she said, he described it, she says it wants to float up into my mind. So I let it do that. And then I asked her, where does it want to float now? And she said, it wants to leave. And I asked her, which way does it want to leave? She says, I don't know. And I said, should we wait and see? She said, yes, that's a good idea. And we waited for a bit. And I said to her after a while, do you know where it wants to go now? And she said, yes, it wants to expand. I asked her, how much does it want to expand? She said, it just wants to get bigger and bigger and bigger until there's none of it left. So I said, do you think we should let it do that? And she said, yes. And so we allowed it to do that. And she started smiling this bigger and bigger grin. And that's the end of the pain, she said. And it was gone. And she asked me, are you working in the hospital? And I said, no, I'm not. And she said, why not? And I said, because the hospital knows I'm here, because I've been involved with the hospital for quite a long time, because I do hospital radio there. But the problem with the hospital is that although I know the directors of the hospital, they're all not profit, and I would not be good for that hospital because I'm not a profit model for them, because they deal with drugs which cost money, and so that's why they don't want me in there, which is a shame, really, isn't it? I would love to be in that hospital helping people with their pain, because I stop pain. But if anybody has any comments, I said, do please put them in the box there, and I'll be very glad to answer them. And I'd like to reiterate what I said earlier on. When you begin to deal with somebody's pain, all sickness, in my view, all disease has an underlying message, because your physical body is a fully autonomous, self-healing machine. It has everything within it to cure any disease, and I've known this because I've tested it. I said it yesterday, I believe 40 years ago, in that very hospital that I was in yesterday, they diagnosed me as a fully vegetative, unviable cabbage. And in my view, that was a little over the top, a little excessive, because I'm a very talkative cabbage. But I don't know how many people we've got listening now, but I think there's maybe 10 or so. And I don't know if any of you are somnambulists, but I noticed that there have been over 100 people listening to yesterday's broadcast. So I'm thinking there will be a lot of people listening to the recording version. So I'm going to go ahead now and either show myself as the greatest hypnotist on the planet, or of all, and I don't mind which it is, because it will be fun. So if you've got a coin, and if you think you're a somnambulist, and if you're driving a car, then don't listen any further. Hey Ian, good to have you join us. It looks like you say, oh, there's a comment. Fascinating talk. I'm glad. Thank you for that comment. Thank you. And Barbara, good to have you join us. And if just to recap, I'm just about to do an experiment, Barbara. So if you're a somnambulist, you'll hopefully enjoy this, because I'm just going to be doing an experiment which is going to show me to be the greatest hypnotist on the planet. Or that's what I'm hoping. Or it's going to show me to be a complete fool. Either way, we're going to find out. So if you've got a coin, and if you've got a dark coin, this may work better. So if you've got that coin, and this is potentially dangerous, by the way, potentially. So I want you to listen to what I'm saying very clearly. I don't want you to take any chances with this. So do listen very carefully, because I'm giving you a few minutes to find a coin. 3 moments to find that coin. Get that coin. This is potentially dangerous. I don't want you to get injured. And if you are driving a car, if you're operating any kind of machinery, then turn it off, park the car, don't listen if you're driving. Be absolutely certain of that, because you need both hands for driving. Now, if you've got your coin, preferably a dark coin, this works much better with a dark coin. But if you haven't got a dark coin, don't bother, don't worry. Now, if you're a somnambulist, this will work better. I want you to take that coin and put it in your left or your right hand, in your palm. And I don't actually have a coin, so I can't show you, never mind. But put it in your palm, put it in your palm, and press it into your palm, and press it hard into your palm. Press it firmly hard into your palm. All right, into your palm, and then close your palm on the coin and take your thumb out. Now, turn your hand over so that you feel that in your palm. Now, I want you to listen very carefully to what I say, because I don't want you to take any chances. I want you to drop that coin, not yet. I want you to drop that coin immediately that you feel any pain. Don't be brave, because that coin is going to start getting very hot very quickly, because all of your energy is going to go into that coin. It's getting hotter, hotter. It's becoming energized with your mind, getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And the moment it gets hot, I want you to drop it, because it's getting too hot. I don't want it to burn your hand, but it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. Drop it as soon as it gets hot. Don't hold it any longer than you have to. Drop it as soon as it gets hot. It's just getting so hot you can't hold it. You have to drop that coin when it gets too hot. Just drop it. And if you are a somnambulist, I want you to type in the box if you felt the heat, because you are a somnambulist and you will feel that heat. If you feel the heat, drop the coin, because I don't want you to burn your hand, because that is very dangerous when you feel the heat, because that will get too hot to hold. You must drop it when you feel that heat, because I don't want you to be burnt by that coin, because this is dangerous for somnambulists. Drop the coin when you feel the heat. Don't hold it for any longer than that, because that coin is getting hot now, because you are a somnambulist, and that coin will get too hot to hold, and you must drop that coin when you feel the heat, because it is too hot to hold, and it is too hot now. It is too hot now, and you drop the coin. Drop the coin, because it is too hot. It is too hot to hold. So hot. Hot now. It is so hot now that you must drop it. Drop it, because it's too hot, because you are a somnambulist. Drop it now. Now, if you did feel the heat, make a comment in the box below and let me know. And if you're listening now on the live call, give me a comment if you felt the heat. And this will have either shown me to be the greatest hypnotist on the planet, because this has never been done on live TV, it's never been done on Facebook Live, and I've not done this hot coin trick since, in fact, the last time I did this was on an underground train quite a while ago with a friend of mine who sadly is no longer with us, and had a heart attack soon after we did that trip together. And Barbara Scholl, you're saying it worked for you. Fabulous. You felt the heat. Fabulous. You're a somnambulist. Well done. Thank you for letting me know. Yes, she's saying. I wonder if anybody else found that. Are you saying then, Barbara, that I'm the greatest hypnotist on the planet, I hope? That is a result. Barbara Scholl, congratulations. You're the first one that's made the comment, and the first one that's taken recognition for being a somnambulist. Well done, Barbara. Well done. And with that, unless anybody else wants to Jojo, welcome to the show. Jojo from the Philippines. Jojo's a bit sick at the moment because she's been recently hit by a motorcycle, so she needs all of your prayers to help her get better because she's a bit poorly and she needs a hospital treatment. But unfortunately, she hasn't got the funds to do that. So if you want to help Jojo, you could get in touch with Jojo and send her a donation through Western Union. That would help Jojo an awful lot. Jojo in need of some hospital treatment, but she can't have it. So do send some donations to Jojo through Western Union. Get in touch with Jojo. And she's in the Philippines. She needs some hospital treatment. And that would help her a lot, an awful lot. I've been helping Jojo and she's in trouble. So any help you will give Jojo, send it to me. That would help Jojo in the Philippines. She's a wonderful woman. She's helped me an awful lot because I had some problems with this shoulder. She was a reflexologist. She's helped me an awful lot. I've got full use of the shoulder now, thanks to Jojo. So I can't help her enough. Any help you would give her would help her. So anybody else feel the heat in that coin? Anybody else? Type it in the box. Make a comment below. This full video will be on my timeline very soon. And I've been running for half an hour. Winston Black, thank you for joining. I'm just coming to the end of the show now, but you'll be able to see the show in full. It will be on the timeline very soon. And unless anybody else has got a comment, then I'm going to bring the show to an end. Winston, listen to the live show because I just conducted an experiment for the somnambulists, a little bit of hypnotism that I did there. And so listen to the live show and you'll be able to see the experiment, see if it works for you, and you'll be able to comment to let us know if it worked for you. And that was a fun experiment to see if you're a somnambulist. So if there are no more comments, I'm going to end the show. I better, by the way, give you my website because I do hypnosis over the internet and face-to-face. But if you'd like to have some hypnosis to help you with your changes you want to make, whether it be, stuff like easy stuff. It's easy to quit smoking. It's easy to lose weight. I am an expert in losing weight, by the way, and I talk the talk and I walk the walk because back in 2014, I did a 200-day fast. And that was 5 periods. I started with 40 days on nothing but water. Then I did 200 days on nothing but rice and water. Then 200 days on water, followed by 200. Sorry, let me start again. I did 40 days on water, 40 days on nothing but rice, then 40 days on water, 40 days on rice, followed by 40 days on water. So I reckon after 200 days, I knew about weight loss and fasting. And I lost during that period, during the first 40 days, I lost 47 pounds and I've kept it off. I don't do yo-yo dieting. None of my clients do either. I get the weight off and you will keep it off. So I know about quitting smoking. I can help you with losing weight. And I can help you with depression. I can help you with motivation. I can help you with pain. If there's anything you need help with, I can help you. And you can contact me through my website, which is hypnosensei, hypnosensei.co.uk, hypnosensei.com. It's the same website. You can also get through to me through virtualemeeting.com. That's virtual letter E, no spaces. You'll find my telephone number is on there as well. It's a UK telephone number. And you can get to me on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/hypnosensei. So you should be able to find me, and I can set up sessions with you over Skype or Zoom, and so we can set up a session wherever you are on the planet. I've got clients from Alaska down to Tasmania, and we can set up a session that suits you. And I think that's it. So I think we'll call that a wrap. Thank you for coming. Do share this video with your friends. Tell your friends about me. And I'll be probably doing another Facebook Live very soon. So thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting me. I hope you've enjoyed the show. And I'll call that a wrap for now. And I'll answer all your comments after the show. So bye-bye for now. Namaste.